Steel Illuminati, won't I?
So this is the culmination of 3 years of uni and 40 grand of debt.
Be careful. Still living at home. Do you want to be fed?
All right.
Wash you then.
Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves as it's time for my speech. But before I stand here, paper in hand, and begin my preach, I want to take this moment to thank everyone for coming. Well, now that's out of the way, I'll briefly outline the forthcoming. To begin with, an introduction. Oh, no, wait, I've done that part. As you can see, I haven't exactly learned this by heart, but what I can recall is the verbal harassment I'm about to convey on this special occasion, April 8th, my mother's wedding day. Let us begin with a simple fact about my mum. And as lovely as she is, we can all agree that she can be a bit blonde. One evening I was sat watching telly and she burst through the doorway and she says, Harry, tell me, how do you spell RSPCA? I stayed for a while thinking, out of all the questions she could have opted, she provided me with one that made me believe I was adopted. I waited for the elevator music in her head to stop, and only then could she fathom her mental belly flop. And another time she confessed to my sister and myself that when she was younger she would take her teddy bear from the shelf and pluck out his fur until he was bare.
True.
I guess that's why they call them
She had a bald teddy bear.
teddy bears.
Don't tell me it's a teddy.
But that's not all you do.
He's got a bald teddy
Bring on Mr. Ted.
But that's not all she would do. I'll tell you something no one knows. She would take his tufts of hair and stick them up her nose. Oh, that's not so bad, I hear you stir. Imagine my surprise when the cat was missing some fur.
Just say that.
Now I'll be moving on to my next victim, Raymond Jones.
Get in there, Harry.
Yeah, I'm also wondering why she picked him. It certainly wasn't for his good looks and let alone the fact that with a chain can't reach a smoke alarm. Now Raymond Jones is an intriguing man. I'm still amazed how he lives with my mum's attention span, which darts around the room like a bullet from a gun. It's a surprise he hasn't already said, that's it, I'm done. You can really count on Ray to do one thing, to hurt himself somehow on literally anything. The front door, back door, and even getting out of bed. It's an absolute miracle the garden gate hasn't left him dead. Now I have one more tale before I progress.
Oh no.
A terrible truth that I have to confess, so vile a horror that has since now been untold, a secret worth my own body weight in gold. Now brace yourself for what I'm about to reveal. Hold your breath, grip your chair, and try not to squeal, because, ladies and gentlemen, my dear sweet mother is responsible for giving birth to my shit of a brother. Now this young boy, well I say young, is infamous for his mouth, something that goes unsung, whether it be about politics, or guess what, politics. You count on the whole room wanting to put his head between two bricks. He's not all bad, he does have his advantages, like for some reason he always easily manages to devour food at lightning speed. He'll never leave a dirty plate, which doesn't sound too bad until you realise he's already ate. Okay, that's enough bullying for one sibling. I better move on before you all start quibbling about why I haven't harassed my dear big sister. Well, maybe you're forgetting she has a 6'4" mister. Bugger it, I'll do it anyway. I'm not afraid of Darren. For all his height and evil thoughts, his head can be quite barren. By the way, can I remind everyone here that once they've tied the knot, if I'm somehow absent, it's because I've been stabbed in the parking lot. Guess who's next? Oh right, yeah, it's my sister Amy. She obviously can't go on engine. Look at her, can you blame me? You are a lot as surprised as I am that she hasn't turned up all in black or wearing some sort of reference to a skeleton named Jack. Well, that's enough about my favourite sister. I suggest we move on to the founder of Blisters. Now, before you give it stick, remember I'm its biggest fan, which honestly says a lot about my very own nan. You see, my nan is as glamorous as they come, which makes me wonder what went wrong with my mum. My nan is 83 now, sorry man, no more bluffing, and in all that time she still can't keep up with my skills in turkey stuffing. Moving on to Harvard, my nan's second half, but I won't even go there because that would take a whole paragraph. So I'll carry on with this social cleanse by moving on to my mother's friends. I'll start with Paula, who used to sneak up on me and crack my toes, and I would go crying to my mum with teary eyes and a snotty nose. Sometimes my mum would wake up from a hangover from the night before. Her excuse was simply be Paula as she lay on the bathroom floor. Now, they say behind every great man is a great hairdresser, and I don't want to make anyone here feel any lesser, but I dedicate my stylish locks to the only woman I'll let cut my hair, Joanna, who's also responsible for me finding my mother hanging over on the stairs. I would also like to say thank you to everyone that has attended, and I hope my family hasn't been too offended. Shout out to Debbie, Steve, Dick, Gary, Marco, Sandra, Vernon, and Arnie. I'm not going to name anyone out, but oh yeah, Alison. All joking aside, we are gathered here for a reason, to celebrate a love that will blossom with each season, through the spring and the next, the summer and snow, to hold each other close and to never let go. To be there for each other when times seem dark, to kindle into a fire what began as a spark. To be with each other now and when you're above, bound by the undying strength of your love. I apologise to my family for the merciless harassment. I hope I haven't caused you all too much embarrassment. For this next part, I'll try and be a bit more humane. Some kind rhyming words to help deal with the pain. My nan, Sheila Fox, who never seems to age a day, is as beautiful in as she is out, all without a hair of grey. The necklace you gave me I promise to wear always, as it hangs next to my heart and that is where it stays. My grandpa Walter Fox, who is sadly no longer here, is in all of our hearts and his memory will never disappear. And it's a good thought to know that whilst he is in heaven, that the love of his life is safe in the arms of Harvard Evans. My brother Morgan, as difficult as he can be, I've always known deep down he's more of a man than me. He has a big heart and mind and is maybe a bit too intelligent, but with all his good qualities, he has every reason to be arrogant. My sister Amy, who was my best friend growing up, from the time she tied my shoes to even doing my makeup. I love her with every ounce of my being, and I hope you can all agree when I say there could be no better sister than my sister Amy. Now you look after my mother, Ray, don't you ever let her slip, because I know your weak spot, a swift jab to the hip. You've been there for me every time when very few had, and I'm proud to have you in my family and to call you my stepdad. I'm no poet, but I think this has gone quite steady, but the next part gets moving, so get the tissues ready. And while this poem is dedicated to the bride and groom, I would like to devote this part to the most beautiful woman in the room. My mother has been there for me like no one would believe. She would hold me when I cried, wipe my tears with her sleeve. She was there for me during the times I thought I was alone, with her heart as pure as gold and her strength as strong as stone. She is without a doubt the bravest woman I have ever met. She takes on everything the world throws at her and never breaks a sweat. And whilst life has dealt you cards that have not always been in your favour, I want you to know you're my reason for everything, my friend, my mum, my saviour. Now I am no Shakespeare, but I think this has gone all right. But let us turn our attention to the lady all in white. I want an applause so loud you feel it shake your bones for the bride and groom, Cindy and Raymond Jones. Yeah.